Thank you so much for still staying with us. And of course, we're talking about finances now, talking about our economic situation and COVID-19. We know, as a matter of fact, that many businesses will be collapsing or have collapsed as a result of COVID-19. Many homes, what they can afford before, they no longer can afford it. And of course, these are the realities that COVID-19 pandemic has brought to the world, and not limited to Nigeria. But how do we salvage this situation? How do we begin to look at ways to get out of all of this chronic effect of COVID-19 on the finances at home front, business front, and put together itself? To look at the attaining financial independence amidst COVID-19, to look at all of these issues with us is Tolu Ohiwo. I hope I got this correctly. He's a life coach and, of course, a business enthusiast. It's great to have you on this platform. I hope I got your name correctly. Tolu.
Firstly, good morning. Good morning, listeners as well. Tolu Oluwo.
Oluwo, because
Pretty
I didn't
much
actually.
Oluwawo, but then the short form Oluwo.
Oluwo. All right, it's great to have you on this platform.
Beautiful to be
Yes,
here as well.
let me start off this way. There are so many businesses now, obviously, that will be collapsing. Many people will be losing their jobs.
That's right.
If they have not even lost the jobs.
That's right.
You know, there'll be instances where people will be having financial stress to actually meet up with their daily activities in terms of what they need, obligations and responsibilities.
Right.
You know, put them together. How do we begin to address this?
It's actually a sad reality, very, very sad. And that's when I told my friends we were opportune to be out of the country before the pandemic became global. You know, we led some entrepreneurs to Singapore. So we're opportune to, of course, I during my 14-day quarantine period, I've isolated.
So we shouldn't be scared here. Okay.
I was on here some days back and I was asking the presenter if I could sneeze or cough because it was a bit stuffy there. Like, I don't have corona, can I sneeze? Everybody pretty much laughed in the station. So I was telling them we're opportunity to be in the middle of, you know, because aside from, as you may decide from China, and we were in Asia, a few hours to China, but less than 2 hours to China. And then we looked at Nigeria, we looked at the future, I was mostly concerned for Nigeria because I understand how much of a cash and carry system we operate here. I understand how very hard it is to get credit facility. I know how most Nigerians actually make the money for that day, on that day.
Not like a monthly basis
Exactly.
kind of earning.
And I wasn't surprised when we didn't really get much. Now I'm saying we because I want to represent every Nigerian. When we didn't get much COVID-19 stimulus or relief packages. You know, you had families of 10 getting a loaf of bread. You had the community of about 150 families getting maybe just a bag of rice. So we foresaw this. We also made plans. I could also be a humanitarian. I co-founded Made Men. It's a group of young entrepreneurs. And what we do basically is take money every month from what God gives us from our generated revenue to give to indigent market women. And people have asked us why women. We understand when you touch a woman, you've touched the family. When you touch the family, you touch a community, and then it just goes on and on. So we foresaw this. And as I said, it's actually a sad reality because even though we foresaw it, we're not in positions of power. Even though I believe power could be.
But what do you think should have been done at the top hierarchy in terms of governance structure in Nigeria? Let's look at what the government came up with a moratorium in a way that people who had gotten loans should have a way of having a relief in paying back, and some will have it spread for so long in order to encourage people.
Very good topic, but I don't know how blunt I could be. But the honest truth is, okay, let me use a place like the UK for example. The UK said to most business owners that they could access £50,000. I have a friend here in Nigeria who said to me, Tolu, I have 3 businesses in the UK, and he has one of the biggest businesses in Ibadan, to the glory of God. And he said, Tolu, I have 3 businesses in the UK, and 2 of them have been certified to get the loan, to get the package. So if I get £100,000, that's about, I think it's about 50 million naira, I could actually shut my business. So these guys accessing these loans at the top can decide to shut their business. Well, what about the members of staff? Say, but I have 43 staff members, excluding the security guys, and you guys, about 14 of us in the PR team. Say, but I won't do that because if we stay here together doing home delivery, doing pickups as the government would allow, I will still be able to pay you guys something. But so to answer that question, there's actually a disconnect from the leaders and they led. It is not the same COVID-19 for everybody, and that's the honest truth. So whilst they all say, or we all say, stay back at home, they have what to feed on.
And leaving the people, the populace, to actually suffer for it.
Because these guys have to go out to make the money so it's been somehow it's been funny, because every Friday and Sunday we've sent out money since March the 21st. Every Friday and Sunday, and then once every month we take food items. We do not
independently. That's what your group does, okay?
Independently, and the beautiful thing is we've also been able to inspire people to do same in their various cities, and I feel it's getting better, but it's not.
But what assessment do you have about the Nigerian populace itself, Nigerian populace, in terms of actually dealing with COVID-19 and the economy itself? What's your assessment? Do you think more people will be impoverished? More people who were middle class will nosedive into becoming very poor?
I'm not a
what's your assessment from what you've seen? You said you go out.
I'm not a prophet of doom, and I honestly won't like to saturate the clouds with fear, as it were, but the reality is many Nigerians didn't prepare for this, and that's actually very sad. A lot of people don't have the savings culture, because I tell my friends, if you are 1 month's salary away from being impoverished, then you're not doing well. At least have 6 months. Even if anything happens in 6 months, you can still feed your family. People would ask me, Tolu, it's because you have multiple streams of income, but I did not always have multiple streams of income. No, Tolu, it's because you have this and that. But I didn't. In the same Ibadan, I had sold accessories, even though I had a degree. I'm a Christian, and I understand that the Bible speaks about us saving 1/5 of our earnings. That's 20%. Now, it is discipline to save 1/5. Now, as I stand, I probably save about 80%, because I've learned to live not even within my means. I can live large if I were to go by within my means, but I live for people essentially. Now, a lot of us buy things we don't need to impress people that we don't like. And that's pretty much how the society has really been. If you cannot afford, I don't know if I can mention brands, is that allowed?
You can mention one, because that would be an advert for them.
A particular brand, foreign, I'm sure they will know what brand I'm speaking about, that produces mobile phones. It's a US brand. Buy it. The first function of your phone is communication. Communicate so you can afford luxury. The first function of an automobile is mobility.
But does Nigerians really have disposable income? Because even if you look at some of the things that you need to take care of financially, do you have anything like disposable income for you to spend? Because
I wish we could take certain vocations, and I'll tell you how much money could be realized. So it's not
as your disposable income.
Yes, it's not really about.
Look at some people who had even borrowed before their salaries come in, and now they have to pay back.
The question is, why did they borrow? Now it's okay to borrow because of what I do. I'm a PR person. I'm also a business enthusiast. To the glory of God, we've worked with over 1,000 companies across all sectors. We have, just like you say for corona cases, you have the active case, you have general case. We have right now an active clientele base of about 143. So I can speak as one that is involved with Nigerians every day, and we're in four continents, to the glory of God. So my point is, I've seen how people to eat, to probably take a meal of around 500 naira. Then you see this guy that probably does a menial job, eating twice as much. And then from basic science that everything else apart from that portion that he took the first time is a waste, because the body will just pass out as waste. It's not needed even for energy. But there's that thing about Nigerians. It's even in many songs that we hear. Let me enjoy my life now. Let me eat the life of my head. There are many things that we do not honestly need. So when I started saving 20%, it was hard for me at first.
So you are saying that even as a populace, we're wasteful. As a people, we are very wasteful.
I won't say as a populace, but I would say many of us should encourage the savings culture. However that applies to us, And I'm sure a lot of my friends are like, I started this 2 years ago. I realized by September that I was done for the year. So I said every other month, whatever you want, if you're on my WhatsApp, let me know if it's something reasonable. And the beautiful thing is, God, I have this gift of bringing people together for a project. So because I said that,
that's an individual kind of effort. But what happens to what the government does?
So
let's say, for instance, now, okay,
because even as a government, we are not positional leaders. There are two kinds of leaders majorly. There are positional leaders, there are inspirational leaders. We are inspirational leaders. We're inspiring people to greatness. We're inspiring them to discipline or a change of a lifestyle, etc. But if I had a position, it would even be better. Most I have an allocation from the federal government to even effect better changes. So beyond just giving relief, as it were, we are not really doing much of education.
But do you see sincerity of purpose coming from the government when it comes to palliative? So, for instance, let's look at what happened in your state, where rice became an issue. Rices that were already spoiled, according to them, contaminated.
That's
It
right.
had been shared among the people. And now we see a lot of donations for COVID-19 internationally and even locally, and it's running into several billions of naira.
That's right.
And Nigerians are asking, where are these monies? Shouldn't there be some part of the relief package, stimulus package
That's
that
right.
should be coming from the government? Why would the government carry a seized rice? These are some of the questions. You said
right.
this rice was seized.
That's
Why then are you sharing it among the people? When you said local production of rice is really jacked up, and of course we
That's
have
right.
so many of it. You know, what do we make out of all of this?
I think in the committee of states or state government, the Oyo states, for me personally, even though I have friends in both, in the two ruling parties, and I would like to be a bit diplomatic, but I feel honestly, the Oyo state government is, as regards COVID-19, has done a great job.
Okay.
I like the fact that it's not joining the bandwagon, because there should be domestication of measures you take in as regards the COVID-19 menace. What is good for the US might not be good for Nigeria, and conversely as well. So I like the fact that even when the Honorable President says, etc., he domesticates it, because Oyo is different from Lagos or Ogun State. For that I would credit him. So I think maybe to the best of his knowledge, to the best of the information available to him, he's not on the street. Whatever he hears is not, it might not always be the exact truth. There are lesser truths, there are greater truths, there are padded truths, there are simple truths, etc. So I feel, for looking at him from an observatory point of view, I think he's doing a fantastic job. I like the fact that he's sensitive, to the people. He's come on Instagram to address the youth, come on Twitter, he's come on several TV stations, radio stations, use several media platforms to reach out to people. Obviously, it will not please all of us. I'm not entirely happy with him, but I know he's done a good job.
But there's this saying that what is good for the goose is also good for the gander here.
That's right.
And of course, is it an approach that the government has been able to apply? Let's look at, for instance, the palliative. Many people who ask questions are like, what are their own children eating? Are they facing the same struggle
For businesses,
many Nigerians are actually facing?
No, they are
Is
not.
it really
There's a
what is good
disconnect.
for the goose is also good for the gander?
And that's pretty much,
Is it applicable?
That's pretty much why I like the Ebola approach. Now, Ebola as a disease or as a virus, as a pandemic, would not exonerate anyone. It's not about the best immune system wins. So I saw the way Nigerians came together.
With a full force to
Because
fight it.
even if you have a family that you can seclude in one estate or quarters or what have you, what about your driver that has to go home? If your driver comes back with Ebola, and it's easily transmissible. You have the sweat on the steering wheel. You might want to drive that car later in the evening. So we all took Ebola by taking the bull by the horn, because it was something you couldn't run from. But when we realized that COVID-19 or coronavirus, this strain of coronavirus, is not entirely generic in nature or in spread, I started seeing the Nigerian factor come to play. Because the truth of the matter is, with businesses in Nigeria as a whole, I don't think the state governors or the federal government has done the best, because you tell people to stay back at home and feed on what? You tell people to, I'm not sure how much I can say on air, but we've not domesticated it well. I like what these guys did. These guys that came up with the drug, is it Madagascar?
Madagascar here, okay.
Flu in the US and the UK is a big deal. Flu in Nigeria is not a big deal. Malaria here is a big deal. It is not a big deal like a pandemic over there. Of course, when you get to the UK or the US and you have malaria, they have to quarantine you, which has always been. But we take everything they say there and then just
apply it here too, okay.
And it's not everything you copy that you should paste, because there's even no constant. The indices are not the same. So like you rightly said, a lot of Nigerians might not be able to peak after this. A lot of businesses have been affected. A lot of people, it's like a bomb waiting to explode. It's like a bomb waiting to explode.
But what is the way forward out of all of this? How can businesses get back and of course save many people from actually losing their jobs? Because already some industries have started sacking staff, even with people trying to say businesses should get back in full times. Of course, we're seeing this already going on. How do we get back to normalcy for the businesses?
I'd like to firstly credit everybody, every CEO that I work with watching me right now, because I read a lot of them who said they were going to tune in to watch. Thank you for not sacking any of your staff members. We had a meeting and we sent out internal memo, and we worked on how we could, ensure beyond the money they pay us as consultants that they don't sack their members of staff.
So what do you have to say about those that have already sacked and those that will still lose their job as a result of COVID-19?
I'm very pro entrepreneurship, and I've always said like entrepreneurship is the way forward for Nigeria. The way Nigeria is, every state, country has its uniqueness. Entrepreneurship has always been, for me, the thing for Nigeria. But what about career people? What we call intrapreneurship? You can be within the company and still think like an entrepreneur. So it's time to look inwards. It's time to look for if you can meet a need. Obviously, that means you are in business. Being in business is simply finding a need, identifying it, and then meeting it. I'm hungry and I see a food eatery, and I'm willing to part with my 5,000 naira to get that food. Like, you've met my hunger pangs, my hunger needs. I want to come here now and I need to dress well. You were able to supply my clothes. Even the dry cleaner met a need because I didn't want to iron. So pretty much you will have power here. I'm sure it's not Nigeria power. I'm sure it's your power, because you might not be able to rely on Nigeria's electricity. So somebody met that need by supplying diesel. Somebody has to come to service. So look for a human need, especially a constant one. Don't necessarily look for luxury. I've not shaved in a while. I probably want to even shave till the end of the month. But then I would probably eat twice or thrice every day. I'll take water, I'll take liquid. So look for things that people would need. To need to actually keep up in order to make money here. And I say it all the time, two things would be the future of Nigeria. My opinion, food production and then low income real estate. Because the population is amazing, over 200.
But what happens to SMEs? What should they do at this point in time?
So I'm happy that tailors that would make things like this are probably now making face masks and they're being creative about it. It's just pretty much everything in a sentence. Be creative, look inwards.
I must say thank you so much to Luwo. He's a life coach and of course business enthusiast, and we've been looking at attaining financial independence amidst COVID-19. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And we also hope that SMEs and of course other businesses and households will get better and get back to normalcy and won't have companies sacking staff at this point in time. That's our package for this morning. It's going to be a very interesting edition tomorrow as well. My name is Bolabo, famous school. Do enjoy the rest of your day.